Hi guys, welcome to another session. So in our previous videos, we have discussed the concept, the process, and the dimensions of stratification. So today in this session, we'll be focusing on the theories of stratification, which means how intellectuals and sociologists have understood the persistence of inequality in different societies. Okay, so let's start with the early understanding. Even before emergence of sociology, there are many philosophers, they attempted to explain inequalities. For example, Plato argued for he argued that people are born unequal. There are certain categories of people who are naturally equipped for different functions, to perform different functions, and he envisioned three classes: guardians, auxiliaries, and the workers. And then Aristotle, if you see, also considered inequalities are natural, and these are permanent and inevitable social reality with a natural rank order exist in every society. So both Plato and Aristotle consider, inequalities as something which is very much natural. And during Renaissance period, the thinkers like Saint Thomas, Saint Augustine, they shifted the focus to power, property, and also prestige. And they recognize that inequalities are socially created. So the earlier understanding was related to, they understood in terms of natural inequality and people are born unequal. But here during Renaissance period, there is a social understanding also started. And then later, Locke, Bentham, Rousseau, and Hegel, they emphasized both inherent inequalities or inherent differences and acquired differences. That means you are born unequal. At the same time, there are certain inequalities which are acquired over a period of time. For example, education, like that. Okay. Rousseau, in fact, saw inequalities as rooted in private property. And Marx also added the dimension of division of labor and explained stratification as a product of class contradictions and exploitations in the capitalist society. And he suggested communism as a solution. And this we will be discussing in depth when it comes to Marxian theoretical parts. Okay. And then late 19th century, so sociology developed further, and then distinct theories have came into picture. So Weber proposed a trinitarian model: class, status, power, and highlighted the multidimensionality of inequality. And before that, we also discussed, or later we will be discussing about functionalist theories like Parsons, Davis, and Moore, etc. And these are theories that we need to focus on. So let's start with the functionalist theories. Okay, so that means in the beginning of 20th century, like in 1940s, American sociologists, they developed the functionalist explanation on inequality, and they try to justify that inequality is something which is necessary and inevitable in any society, and they have seen stratification as something which is necessary for the survival of society. And Parson understood inequality, like every society is based on certain kind of consensus in terms of norms and values. So society operate on the basis of consensus, and these are in terms of certain norms and values, and conformity to these norms and values are often rewarded. And stratification is simply the distribution of position according to this differential conformity to the norms and values. That means the most eligible person, the people who conform to the norms and values, will be rewarded. So stratification basically helps to fulfill society's functional prerequisite and maintain that integration and equilibrium according to Talcott, Parsons. And coming Davis and Moore, this is one of the most important theory that you can get it independently also. Parsons, if they ask functionalist theories, you need to write that. But Davis and Moore, they can ask you separately. In 1942, in his book, in their book, Some Principles of Social Stratification, so they systematized the same functionalist view through four key propositions. So these are in terms of certain propositions, and then there are certain objections by Melvin Tumin, and then there are clarifications. So if theory of Davis and Moore is asked, you need to talk in terms of proposition and the objections raised by Melvin Tumin, and then the clarification, and then the critical analysis. This is how you need to write the theory. So the propositions are like this: society is composed of different positions, and some of the positions are functionally more important than others. Some top positions, some middle positions, some lower position. And the top important positions are to be filled with the talented people, which require more talent, more skill. So they must be filled with the most qualified individuals, most talented individual, most skilled professional. And to attract that skilled professionals or the talented people, you have to motivate people, right? Otherwise, no one will work for achieving the skill or anything. So people, you need to attract talented people to these positions. So mostly this position will come with higher rewards. then only you will attract the talented people. So stratification is basically a mechanism to ensure that the most important positions or the crucial roles are performed most efficiently by the most efficient or the skilled or the talented people. So that is what stratification is all about. That's why the higher rewards are given to the most important position, as you need the most talented people to be fit into that position. Then comes the objections raised by Melvin Tumin. This is also considered to be part of the theory. So the questions he raised are, how do we judge the relative importance of a position? So how can you say that a teacher or a doctor is more important, right? So how can you judge the relative importance of a position? And then if you are giving equal opportunity, then only you can talk about these rewards and everything. So equal opportunity is actually assumed here. But in reality, there are a lot of hindrances. Like when we discussed in terms of social mobility, we discussed this parental background, the culture, the resources, all these will act as some hindrances to some sections of the people. So equal opportunity is just a distinct reality. And then talent cannot be measured objectively. No matter whatever exams you conduct, there is no proper measurement of talent. And the training sacrifices that you talk about is often exaggerated according to Melvin Tumin. And stratification may also, according to Tumin, generate hostility and tension rather than integration. Okay, now comes the clarification by Davis and Moore. See, according to them, they are saying that yes, it is difficult, but it is not impossible to judge the relative importance of a position. You can understand that in terms of the uniqueness of a role and the degree of dependence that other roles upon it, right? So uniqueness, for example, IAS officer and a doctor, or IAS officer and a teacher, which one is more unique? So it is very easy to understand, and the degree of dependence of other roles upon it, the IAS officer and the teachers. Any job you take, degree of dependence is more on IAS officer, or uniqueness is more on IAS officer. So in that way, you can judge the relative importance of that position. Yes, it is difficult, right? There are a lot of values and other things, subjectivity is involved, but it is not that impossible. So this is one way to judge the relative importance of the position according to Davis and Moore. And then according to him, rewards are necessary to motivate the people for undergoing training, sacrifices, and other things. Otherwise, they won't go for it, right? So rewards are necessary, and alternative motivational schemes, if you there is nothing, and in case if you go with alternative motivational scheme, that will disrupt the balance in society. So these are the clarifications given, but despite these clarifications, there are of course criticisms remains, and like the theories explaining only the open system, the class system only, but the closed system like the caste system, you cannot explain with this. Gender based system, you cannot explain with this. Race inequalities, you cannot explain with this. And the Marxist argue it legitimizes exploitation. So these are certain criticisms which you can write, and I've given this in detail in PDF and also in the actual class. Go through that so that you will cover this. Apart from that, whatever you learn in Marxian theory, you can add it further. And then comes W.L. Warner. So they won't ask that separately. Along with this, you need to add, according to Warner, he basically emphasizes status rather than the class, and he used variables like education, occupation, income, leisure, lifestyle. And he basically argued that the stratification create cultural stability by compartmentalizing groups into distinct strata based on certain status, right? So people are compartmentalized, one section, other section, other section. So that will give the cultural stability and thereby reducing the intergroup conflict. So this is a simple understanding of stratification by W.L. Warner. Apart from this, you can also talk about the later developments like Neo-Marxists, like Erik Olin Wright. They introduced the idea of contradictory class locations, that individuals who occupy positions between capitalists and the workers. And the postmodernists like Baudrillard and Beck, they suggest that strata-based inequalities are these days diffusing, of course, and inequalities today are increasingly individualized rather than structured. The more society is getting more individualistic society, so the inequalities are getting more into individuals, right? Individual inequality is more, even within a family also you will find inequality. Forget about societal level inequality. So to conclude, what we can say is theories of stratification basically range from natural inevitability, as we have seen in case of Plato, Aristotle, and then to class conflict in case of Marx, and then functional necessity for Parsons, Davis and Moore and Warner, and finally multidimensionality between Weber and Wright. I can discuss multidimensional pattern of inequality according to Weber in a later session. But functionalist, they view stratification as necessary for social order. It is fulfilling certain vital functions for the society, and it is fulfilling the important roles. The positions are important, the rewards are important, and the conflict theorists, they expose it as a mechanism of domination. And the postmodernists, meanwhile, argue that in today's fragmented world, these classical theories of stratification are losing its relevance because individualized inequalities is more important rather than a kind of strata. So that's about this session. I hope you got some idea about stratification. It's a quick session, revision session, summary only. So in case if you're looking for any mentorship on sociology, test series, or the classes, you can get in touch with us. I see you there. Thank you.